Welcome back into another week of Fox 54's The Blitz. I'm your morning anchor, Jackson Rowland.
And I'm your news producer, David Waukee.
Each week, we're breaking down the games of the week and telling you which games you can watch right here on Fox 54.
Plus, the matchups between your Atlanta Falcons and Carolina Panthers. Let's get started.
All right, David, we'll start off with a game you can catch right here on Fox 54. It's going to be Carolina Panthers, Dallas Cowboys. Looking to be a decent matchup here. Cowboys coming off a good week for them. Dak Prescott and the offense are looking good. David, what do you expect to see?
So I'm expecting to see, hopefully, the Carolina Panthers carry on that Week 5 victory against the Dolphins. Yeah. They were down and out 17-0 at the beginning of the game. Looked rough. Bryce Young got sacked, fumbled. But you know what? They did something that we don't normally see them do. They fought back. They stayed in the game, and they came out with a victory at home. Right now, they're 2-0 at home. So I'm looking for them to build on that momentum. Dallas, even though they did have a good week against the Jets, their defense did. Yeah. I still feel like they still need a little work, and sure. I think Bryce Young and especially Rico Dowdle will be able to expose them.
Yeah, what a game from Rico Dowdle, rushing for over 200 yards, and that's what they were missing so badly, was getting the run game firing. Now, it came a little later, and Bryce Young had an abnormal game. We talk about him not turning the ball over as much, but this was a different story, right? The fumble, the interception, didn't look like his week, but of course, they fought back. We haven't seen that from them. It wasn't their best win, but it was a win, and still continues some momentum for the season. And like you said, I think Young provides maybe a better challenge for the Cowboys secondary as compared to the Jets last weekend. But Cowboys defense stepped up and looked better than what we've seen, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely they did. They kept the Jets pretty much to about 10 points up until that fourth quarter where they were able to score a little bit more and it got closer. But either way, I still think the Cowboys had their foot on the pedal the entire time. Dak had over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, had a great, phenomenal game. And that was still without CeeDee Lamb. We still don't know what his status is for the week, so that could play into their favor a little bit more. But I still, like you said, you've brought it up week after week that the Panthers need to get that run game going to kind of help them out. And look at that, 200 yards. And that was without their lead back, Chuba Hubbard. And they still got the job done.
Yeah, so suffering from injuries, they get the run game going. They've needed it so badly. From the Cowboys side, Dak Prescott's looking better and better each week. You mentioned CeeDee Lamb out, a few other injuries, one of their offensive line. So you like both of these teams offensively, but of course, how they're going to match up schematically is going to be exciting. But you can catch that game on Fox 54. And now, David, we'll move on to another hometown team. The Panthers, we already covered. They were one of our games of the week here on Fox 54. But the Falcons, coming off a bye week. And, David, they're in the throwback uniforms. I love those. I know you said you do too. But they've got a big game coming up, and they need the offense to finally find some production as well.
They absolutely do. They're on prime time. They're Monday Night Football against the Buffalo Bills. They are at home, which is a good thing. They're at the Benz. So I like that. Like you said, I love the uniforms. They need a little bit more out of this offense. And that last game against the Commanders, we did see them show up. Penix had over 300 yards rushing. He had a couple touchdowns. Run game was still not as effective, but you still have Bijan Robinson. He was catching a lot of the balls. Him and Drake London both had over 100 receiving yards. So I think they're moving in the right direction, just like we just said about the Panthers.
Yeah, they're moving in the right direction, and you love to see that before a bye week. They needed that bye week before a tough Bills team. Now, Bills didn't have a great week. They're coming off their loss to the Patriots. However, I call that a fluke. I really do. I think this Bills offense and Josh Allen are still looking very strong. Both sides of the ball seem to have been solid all year. They opened up with tough match against the Ravens. They seem to be able to put points up all year. Last week, I really am calling it a fluke. They're still one of my picks to make a deep playoff run, potentially be in a Super Bowl game. I love what I see and the potential from them. But the Falcons, coming off the bye week, offense progressing, I think it's going to be up to their defense to decide the fate of this game very early on. They're going to have to come out and limit and restrict this Bills offense early.
Absolutely. And that defense, besides the Panthers game where they gave up 30 points, at home, they've been fantastic. They've been keeping all these teams. They kept the Vikings to I think it was under 10 points. They did well against the Commanders. The score was a lot closer than the game actually was. They blew them out really early. So I'm looking for them to keep that momentum. And like you said, they have a bye week. They're rested. They're staying at home. I'm looking at the Falcons to possibly keep this game very interesting.
Yeah, I'd love to see some more action from Bijan early on, and less turnovers from Penix. Maybe just some wiser choices there out of the pocket. They've had just kind of some struggles at QB. We even saw Kirk Cousins make another return this year, and just some questions there. Fans want a little more security, and hopefully we're going to see that coming up against a tough Bills defense. All right, David, now to wrap things up, we're going to make our picks for the games we're keeping an eye on this week. I'm going to start with what may be a dark horse, but actually two good teams, Seahawks, Jaguars, both teams 4-1. Trevor Lawrence and this Jaguars offense, under a new offensive coordinator, seem to be firing on all cylinders. This is the best start this team's had since Lawrence has taken over at the helm within the last 5 years. And so they're finally getting a groove. Some young guys coming in the door as well, with guys like Travis Hunter. They're a fun team to watch right now. And, you brag on the Seahawks defense. It wasn't their best week last week, but in the NFL, things fluctuate every Sunday. And I have a feeling they'll come out strong.
Absolutely. I think Duval has a lot to look forward to. As for me, the pick I'm going to go with is actually, you just mentioned the Seahawks defense. Mm-hmm. It's a gentleman who just carved up that defense.
He did.
And that's Baker Mayfield, Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the San Francisco 49ers. Both teams right now are on a good win streak. A lot of people weren't thinking that the 49ers were going to be good because Brock Purdy got hurt. And who was taking the helm?
He was on
Mac
my
Jones.
fantasy team. Tell me all about it.
That's got to hurt.
It was brutal.
Yeah. But now Mac Jones took over the helm, and he's looked good out there. He looks like rookie year Mac Jones with the Patriots, and he's leading this offense with the help, obviously, of Christian McCaffrey. They don't have Kittle, but they're looking good. But on the other side, the Bucs have looked fantastic. They look like the team to beat. And I think I brought it up a couple weeks ago. If you want anyone right now in the NFL with 2 minutes to go, down one score, you got to have Baker Mayfield. And I think this is going to be a fun game.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield looks like Mr. Clutch, and Mac Jones looks like a new man, a different quarterback than what we saw his last tenure there at the Patriots. And then you got to talk about some breakout stars helping the Bucs. Emeka Egbuka. Who would have thought the rookie would come out and have this kind of breakout year? Obviously, nobody doubted him coming out of Ohio State, being as high of a prospect as he was. But that team looks really good. That's a scary offense to be in their division.
Absolutely, and they're all not healthy. Mike Evans is hurt.
That's right.
Bucky Irving's hurt. So once that team does get healthy, that's going to be a scary offense.
And they're going to be dangerous. I think they make a playoff run this year. Well, thanks for watching, and tune in next week as we break down all of the NFL action you can catch right here on Fox 54.
Plus the matchups for your Atlanta Falcons and Carolina Panthers. I'm David Waukee.
I'm Jackson Rowland, and we'll see you next week on The Blitz.